Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Cox. I'm a member of the Net Capital team. Let's allow one moment for everybody to settle in. Thanks. Okie dokie. Well, let's go ahead and dive in. Welcome again. Today, I'm excited to welcome Jim Mulford with acQyr Exchange. As always, this company is actively raising capital on the Net Capital platform. You can go directly to netcapital.com/companies/acQyr Exchange, or go to netcapital.com and search acQyr Exchange. That's ACQYR. For all the people attending live, I am also adding a link to that in the chat, and that is there now. A few quick housekeeping items. Please do use the Q&A functionality built into chat. I do know that Zoom also has a chat feature, but Q&A makes it so much easier to track all the questions, and we want to get to as many of them as possible. And of course, we want to keep this as interactive as possible. So please do ask your questions. With all that being said, please join me in welcoming acQyr Exchange. Jim, why don't you come on up here and tell us what you're building?
Great. Well, thanks, Eric. It's really a pleasure to talk to you and everybody that's attending today. So let me tell you a little bit about our company. First of all, we have a business mission to provide a market-leading exchange for rewarded digital assets and thereby creating value for our stakeholders. To put a little bit of context around this, I think everyone understands that in most businesses, there's usually some sort of offers and associated rewards that are issued both to attract customers and then to retain their existing ones. I suspect that most people on this call today are associated with multiple rewards programs, from frequent flyer miles to hotel points to car miles to fuel rewards that you get at the local store. And so, in fact, statistics show that an average American is a member of between 12 and 15 rewards programs. So that's very exciting. There's really three key challenges in this market, Eric and everyone here. The first is that businesses need to have relevant offers that will really attract you for what you're trying to acquire in terms of business products and services. Secondly is that those rewards need to be valuable and flexible. And a more recent challenge, but a very important one, is that if there's a way to aggregate those rewards across multiple businesses, then they become of greater value to the customers that are out in the marketplace. So a few years ago, what we did is we set out to build a single platform that would allow for the businesses to define and issue very targeted offers, would allow for real-time tracking of those offers and the achievement of those offers, and then the rewards that come out of that, to allow for the issuance of the rewards themselves, and then, of course, to be able to exchange and redeem those rewards into a common denominator, which in the case that we're launching with acQyr Exchange, it's cash or local currency. So acQyr Exchange is our product name, our offering name, and we're initially going into the mobile and video gaming market. Just an interesting statistic is that there's over $250 billion of issued reward value that are in multiple markets today that are currently unused. I think another way to think of acQyr Exchange is think about other sorts of exchanges. How easy would it be to acquire stock from various businesses if we didn't have the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ? Or if we wanted to do foreign travel and we didn't have foreign currency exchanges, it might be very difficult to make purchases within those countries. And of course, in the online world, acquiring products and services, particularly in this time of COVID that we're coming out of, finally, online marketplaces become very important. So that's really what acQyr Exchange is intended to be for the offer and rewards issuance marketplace. I'll just give you a quick sort of snapshot of how we got to where we're at today. We've actually been in this market for several years. We spent over $8 million to research, develop, test, pilot, and actually go through some extensive piloting initially in the retail market space. And now we're investing into the mobile and video gaming space. Our initial solution, our offering, was tested with small to mid-sized merchants. We partnered, had a multi-year partnership with MasterCard to allow for a single rewards card to be issued to local shoppers, which they can then use at multiple local merchants, and be able to both acquire in real time and to redeem in real time rewards that were issued to them based upon targeting by those businesses. It was a great experience. We actually had hundreds of merchants and tens of thousands of shoppers participate in those pilots. We made a little bit of money on that, but it was really a preparation step for where we're at today. And we elected to pivot to the mobile and video gaming market primarily because in the retail space, it's a very mature market. Rewards have been around for a long time. It's a very crowded space. It was also going to be an expensive proposition to simultaneously market customers and or businesses and customers. So we made the decision to move to the mobile and video gaming market, and here we are launching and excited about that.
Yeah, thanks for that background, Jim. Very exciting trajectory. Love to hear about the traction that you had with MasterCard. That's very exciting. We'd love to take a step back now and just learn more about you. I know you are an Air Force veteran, so I want to thank you for your service, but tell us about the rest of you.
Well, sure. So I graduated from the United States Air Force Academy many years ago and served in the Air Force. And then when I came out, I moved into my background's technology. And so I moved into providing some systems integration in an emerging world of telecommunications and computers. And was able to move up fairly rapidly into some mid-level leadership in corporate America. And then in the mid 80s, we were really moving out of that homogenous world of IBM and into a very heterogeneous environment of, interconnectivity, the thing that was just emerging called the internet, which is now pretty commonplace. So we, three of us made the decision to take our life savings. Each of us put in $10,000. And we launched a complex systems integration business. We grew that from our three initial employees. I served as president and CEO of that. And over a few years, we grew that to several hundred employees, 14 offices. And ultimately, we sold that in an all-cash transaction to a Fortune 500 company. The decision to sell was difficult, but it was really, we're at a point where we needed to take it to the next level. It would require a major investment. And we felt that we could best serve our shareholders and our employees by moving it into that larger framework. So that's what we did. Subsequent to that, I've run another business, which was also sold to a Fortune 500 company. And then this venture. And I've also invested in other companies, but this one is the most exciting. We're energized, and I've got a very strong team surrounding me.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the rest of the team here. I know you have a fellow UCLA grad on the team in Mike. Can you tell us more about Mike Flanagan and Bill Wilson, please?
Sure. So Mike is also an Air Force Academy grad, a year later than me, but so I keep telling him he's following in my footsteps, but that's an inside joke for us. He actually is an outstanding technologist, leader in technology. He also, when he left the Air Force, worked in corporate America with some of the major telecommunications companies, providing a lot of real-time systems integration, and with the emergence of mobile technologies, integrating that in also. And then he and another fellow also started their own business in real-time processing and transactional processing, which is a big part of our overall technology solution set, and successfully ran that business and sold it. And then he has joined me and Bill Wilson, who is our Chief Marketing Officer. Bill, and as you mentioned, Eric, both Mike and I got our masters at UCLA. Mike also has an MBA from Regis University, so quite accomplished in everything that he's done. Bill Wilson, our Chief Marketing Officer, served in corporate America with developing marketing strategies, and then also worked in the entrepreneurial space. He was the Chief Marketing Officer for a Inc. 5000 company, had success there. And Bill is great at developing messaging, developing marketing relationships and with our marketing agencies, and then building a marketing and sales strategy for us. And we'll talk a little more about our B2B to C strategy. We also have our Director of Sales, Jesse Powell, who comes out of the media world. So, a great match there. And I guess the other thing I'd say, we've got, in addition to that team, we've got some key consultants. A couple I'd like to just briefly mention is Jamie Baza, who's one of the leading architects, and I would say in the nation in this type of space. He has been instrumental in helping us architect and design this platform. There are only, in our research, 3 or 4 platforms of this caliber. One of them that I would call out is a platform put together by a company for Starbucks and United Airlines to do a similar sort of thing. So we feel blessed to have Jamie on our team, and then Jay Powell, who is a industry insider for the mobile and video gaming market, is working alongside us to help us connect into the right set of game publishers for this launch.
Yeah, absolutely, Jim. And that's really a strong team, and that's always where I like to start, because that's critically important for investors. And I do see the questions coming in through Q&A, so thanks for that, and let's keep that going. But before I get to the questions about market size and competitive advantage, I'd love to take a step back and actually talk about what is the big problem here? What are we addressing? And I think framing it within that customer acquisition cost versus lifetime value analysis, like that's the perfect way to go about it. So Jim, can you dig deeper into the problem?
Yeah, so like in any market, the businesses themselves have this problem of how can I acquire new customers and lower my customer acquisition costs, right? And at the same time, enhance my lifetime value of that customer. So because, market research and just common sense tells you that a repeat customer is going to be much more valuable to you than going out and having to attract new customers into your business. So, and there's strong metrics on that says if you can lower your customer acquisition costs, increase the lifetime value, that's really what's going to drive your return on investment. And so in the mobile and video gaming space, that is the problem in spades. I mean, it is so critical right now for in a very and we'll talk more about the market size, but it's a very rapidly growing market, double-digit growth, 250 new games being introduced every week. Well, the challenge to a game publisher or game developer is how do I differentiate myself in that marketplace and create alternate marketing channels that allow me to be more effective in acquiring those gamers and retaining them over a longer period of time. The typical free-to-play games that come into the marketplace, which are a very dominant piece. If you go to the Apple Store, Google Store, you'll find a lot of free-to-play games can attract customers very quickly, but the typical customer is on them for less than 30 days, and then they're on to the next one. Well, that doesn't necessarily give the publisher enough time to get their lifetime value and make money on that game. So that's a real problem, and for the gamers, it's how do they maximize their value in these games, and because they're even a free-to-play game, you're going to be given the opportunity to make small purchases. And if I'm going to do that, what's my return on that? And it comes down to the problem that we're trying to solve is provide more targeted offers to attract customers and retain existing ones, make them more valuable, and then allow for the sharing of those reward values across multiple games. That's really where we're focused.
Absolutely, and thanks for bringing in the solution as well to that, building around that loyalty and keeping people engaged in a way that justifies the time and energy into building the game, but also playing the game. So
sure,
certainly appreciate that as a gamer myself. Let's take a step to the side and go into the business model. How does acQyr Exchange make money?
Sure. So we first of all, our go-to-market strategy is B2B2C. We sell to game publishers and developers who bring alongside them some of their gamers, and then we have some side methods for bringing on additional gamers also. But we really focus on getting those for the gamers. The QX app is free download, and for the publishers, there's no upfront cost. So how do we make money? Well, there's really 4 key revenue streams. First of all, our transaction fees. So as gamers begin to acquire their digital rewards and they want to cash that out, redeem it or move it into their bank account, we charge a small transaction fee to that. It's very similar to the size of a credit card transaction fee. So it's not onerous. It's expected. And that creates about, over the course of our business model, about 12% of our revenue stream projected. Secondly, as we begin to build up our gamer base, then we will begin to offer memberships for our gamers, which will be a small monthly fee. The lowest membership level will be in the range of 99 cents a month, so relatively low. The benefits that the gamers get for that is that it lowers or eliminates transaction fees. Secondly, is also gives them access to additional discounts from the game publishers themselves on in-game purchases and rewards. And they also get access to other market partner services that we'll be integrating in with our platform. An example of that is we are under non-disclosure and in discussions with Rakuten, which has access to hundreds of thousands of merchants nationally and internationally, and provide discounts. And so we will have targeted, so when a gamer gets off their game, goes and takes the family out for lunch, and they get 15% off in cashback rewards, those come back into their acQyr balance, and they can use those reward values either to cash out or to further serve their gaming habit. So that's that also. So that's about 25%. And then the offer definition, the publishers have an ability to come in and use templates to define specific targeted offers. Our AI engine actually targets those to the right gamers at the right time. So that's one of the benefits they achieve. And as the offer is or what we like to call a challenge, is taken on by a gamer, and they achieve that, then we issue rewards on behalf of the game publisher. The game publisher transfers those funds to us along with a fee. So those offer fees account for about 25%. So it's a pay for performance, which is attractive to the businesses. And then we also, the largest revenue stream will actually come from our market partners, because they share their fees that they get, like in the example Rakuten with their retail partners. And so we will see about 35 to 40% of our revenues coming through that revenue stream.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. And I hope that answered one of the questions here about, is the customer the gamer or the publisher or both? So hopefully they were able to appreciate that it is in fact both and a little bit more.
Yeah, and yeah, and our initial go-to-market is on the business itself. That's really our penetration point, and then we bring the gamers along with that.
Perfect. Transitioning over to market now for a moment, and again, we're not quite going to get to the competitive landscape and competitive advantage yet, but just big picture, how large is the global games market?
So, I mean, there's multiple slices of that. Worldwide, revenues this year are at $180 billion per year. Worldwide, 2.7 billion gamers. It's believed that 3 of every 4 people in the US are a gamer. Now, we all don't play League of Legends. We all don't play Fortnite. In fact, most of us don't. But a lot of those games are really, and it's actually our primary target market are the leisure and free to play and casual and super casual games. So the reason those become attractive is because more of those gamers are in that 25 to 55 age group. 50-50 male, female, and spending power. And so that becomes attractive to our market partners, brands. We've got another non-disclosure with a company that's marketing and providing services to major brands. So that becomes another attractive feature for our solution set as we move forward. It's a very large market. It's growing and it's projected to grow at double-digit growth for the next 5 years. I only play Missile Command and Pac-Man, so I'm not a gamer myself.
No, that's funny, Jim, and I think that gets to your bigger point. And we just saw an investment come in from an attendee, so thank you for joining the family. That participant who invested, so that's great. No, I think that gets to your broader point, though, Jim, is that the casual, ultra casual is a broader and more diverse and kind of more attractive audience to market to from many advertiser partners than the League of Legends or Call of Duty or Minecraft kind of super competitive player. So I think there's a real opportunity in this exact market. And then, do you have any details around the market size for loyalty and like kind of broader retention programs? Anything you could share about that?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, I mentioned that today there's over $250 billion of unused issued rewards across the 4 primary markets that we're focused on over the long term, and that's retail, travel and leisure, financial sector, credit, debit card, reward values, and then the mobile and video gaming market. Within the market where we're launching mobile and video gaming, there's $30 billion of unused potential there. So, and of course that's international. So you got to, we're starting in the US and then, taking it a step at a time. The other thing I would say is that, we've got a ton of experience and metrics relative to what's going on in the retail space, because it's been around the retail space for over 70 years. So it's very mature, it's very articulated in terms of what the statistics are. The stats show that 90% of customers that are offered a loyalty reward program take advantage of it and are repeat customers. And so that is that's a pretty telling statistic. 75% of all customers that are given some form of reward will come back and make a repeat purchase. If a business can increase their retention by 5% through these types of programs, their profits increase on average 25%. And these are well-documented studies that that we have available to us, and we can demonstrate to the mobile and video gaming market, which is just moving into this space. I had a great conversation with the head of corporate development for Rovio, which is the publisher of Angry Birds and various other games. And he made the point that this is strategic to them. They see the ability to increase lifetime value. They can no longer do that through more Facebook ads, more social media content, promoting on Steam or whatever the platform is that they're operating on. That's essential. Certainly the important thing is that you have a game that's compelling, but then what? And so being able to have a loyalty rewards platform to be able to retain those customers longer is very key to them. So hopefully that answers the question.
No, it certainly does. And that's actually a really good point to continue along with the questions that are coming in from the chat here. So, is this a crowded market? Why does the world need another reward service provider, or is the goal to be a better service provider? And so that's the question, but I want to frame it in, what does the competitive landscape look like? What is your competitive advantage over the other players in the space?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's great. So, well, let's focus on the mobile and video gaming market, since that's where we're initially moving into. I mentioned that, in the retail space, it's a very crowded market, and there's some reasons for us to pivot into the mobile and video gaming space. We think that, through our market partners, we'll be able to naturally move back into the other markets also. But I categorize the competition in the space really in 4 areas. One is loyalty rewards platforms or offerings that exist today within that space, and these are predominantly game-specific loyalty programs. So programs such as Monetizer, Kumaluma, Loot Cakes are programs that we're monitoring, and they tend to be pretty much game specific and offering reward value within those siloed games. Not that that's bad. I think it's very important and it drives value, but it doesn't give that comprehensive value of being able to get a common reward across multiple games. So, that's one area. Another one is there's a lot of attention being given to, I'll call them non-consumable digital assets, like my persona in a game, or, the uniform that I wear. And these are more in the heavy duty games like League of Legends and others. So there are platforms out there like Wax and Horde that allow for the buying and selling of these. So it's an exchange for the buying and selling of non-consumable assets. That's not the business we're in. We're really focused on the consumable digital rewards that can be issued to create monetary valuable for the businesses, to get you to make another purchase, to get you to play the game longer. That's really what the focus of that is. Certainly the major game stores, Apple Store, Google Store, and platforms like Steam and Skills and others, Roblox, which just recently went public, are looking at this space, and that's an area that we always have to be on top of. Most of the reward solutions that they're putting into place are pretty simple, not focused on necessarily targeted offers, just an offer for everyone, and also don't provide that commonality across multiple games in all cases. So that's another area that we're certainly tracking and very focused on. And then I would say the other area of competition could be coming out of the retail space, like a cashback rewards program that exists there, like a Dosh or Rakuten. We're taking the approach there of actually partnering with those companies, and we're under non-disclosure. And so I think while that's they're focused, they got their hands full with retail, so they're not likely to come into this space in the near term. I think in answer to the question, what we're not trying to provide yet another loyalty rewards program. We're trying to provide a platform that is unique in terms of its in-depth investment that we've made to allow for very specific targeting, making sure that the offer that gets to Eric is different than the offer that gets to Jim because of what we play. So if I've never played, the game that you have liked to play, I may get an offer that you don't. On the other hand, you're going to get a loyalty rewards offer because you're a regular player, and they're going to reward you for that. So that targeting is a very important part of that. Secondly, is I think the ability for reward value to be more than just another 100 coins that I can use in the game. That's useful, but the fact that we now have an exchange and redemption mechanism in place that allow you to cash out your rewards for actual cash, or to use that to go back into game and make additional purchases, is extremely valuable. And then the final component is going beyond just a siloed approach and allowing this platform to be applied across multiple games, multiple publishers. And we can talk more about the pros and cons of that if you'd like.
Yeah, let's definitely let's do a little halfway mark a notification really quickly, and then let's dig deeper into that that last piece, cross game play. And I know you made your way out west for UCLA. When you get back out here, we might have to pop over to Activision Blizzard and see if we can get some redemption that's greater than just more coins in exchange for my gameplay. So we'll have to work on that together. Okay, Jim?
Yep.
So we're about the halfway mark here. So I'd like to remind everybody, as always, you can go directly to netcapital.com, search acQyr Exchange, where you can learn more. There's also a Q&A section there if you're not able to get to your questions now. And of course, there's an invest button where you can join the family by investing in the company. That's netcapital.com/companies/acQyr Exchange, or you can go to netcapital.com and search acQyr Exchange. I also added that link into the chat. So yeah, let's go back to that, Jim. The cross-platform, cross-game element. A lot of gamers aren't so hyper-specific as I am. I almost exclusively play first-person shooters. But that being said, there are some people who would love to have their points transfer across Madden to NBA 2K to FIFA, right? That's a kind of a clear example of, like, there are some people that are playing all of the sports games always. So it's about the cross-platform value.
Right. Yeah, so there's different classes of gamers, and obviously we're focusing on those that are, not exclusive into a single game, that they do tend to go from game to game, and they're looking for that type of enhanced value. The real focus of this is to allow these the question always comes up, and I think it's a great question, so why would a game publisher want to have the rewards that you earn in my game, be applied to another game? And it's no different than the question we got in the retail space. Why should my pizza shop issue some rewards that you're now going to use at another pizza shop? And the answer is really pretty simple. It's all about customer centric, right? If the customer feels that this solution set is offering much greater value than what they get from yet another punch in my pizza card, or another 100 coin in my game, then they're going to be the one that really drive this. And one of the things that we've put a lot of time and effort into is providing a comprehensive metric dashboard for our publishers to demonstrate to them, the results that they're achieving. So they're going to see a lower cost to customer acquisition. They're going to see that those customers that were dropping off their game in 30 days are now spending, 60, 90 days, or maybe even longer playing the game. So that's really the enhanced value, and it's no different. Why should I offer a discount, 20% discount to come in and make a purchase of my game when I'm offering that to everybody, versus offering a 20% reward to the gamers that are really playing my game and enhancing the value? So you're going to spend the money. It's just, how do you spend it? And what you want to do is be much more targeted on that. And that's really the differentiator. So if we talk about, is it just another rewards program? We don't view it as that. And nor do I think our publishers that we've been in discussion with view it as that. They view it as something that is strategic, that can give them, can help them reduce the cost of customer acquisition, and can retain their customers longer.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate that we spent some time on that. I think that's important. In terms of defensibility, this is a tricky space. It's largely technical and software. Is there any intellectual property, or are there any moats that are built in that keep this defensible? I know you mentioned that a lot of the kind of larger players in the space have their hands full with retail, but other potential entrants, is there any deterrent there?
Yeah, so we're always concerned about intellectual property and what we can and can't do. We've done a pretty exhaustive search of the marketplace. Like I said, there's 2 or 3 platforms out there that we monitor. We don't see them moving into this space in the near term. The one that was developed by Formation for Starbucks and United Airlines is very targeted. Anybody that drinks coffee at Starbucks knows that those stars and offers are pretty specific. And if you're drinking coffee every day, you can bet you're going to get an offer for a coffee and a bagel. So they've got it figured out, and so we're pretty comfortable with where we stand in terms of our platform right now. But I would say in terms of protecting our IP, in the retail space, and this is I'm not going to go into specifics because we do have some proprietary data here, but if you think about the getting access to the transactions you need to do real-time issuance and redemption of rewards. It already exists in the retail space. It's called the Card Association Network. That's why we partnered with MasterCard. So if you want to get access to that, you plug in, you have to go through a very rigorous verification. But once you're plugged in, you have access to all that data. So you can make real-time decisioning. You can track all the transactional value. That multi-publisher, multi-game, and even multi-platform doesn't exist today in the mobile video gaming market, but the data elements that are necessary, the event tracking, is occurring. So we are putting in place, and we are looking into patent protection on this, the transactional infrastructure. We will have that in third quarter of this year, and that's really going to become a key part of our growth. Today, with version 1, in-game rewards that are issued by the gamer can be exchanged and redeemed out through our platform. That's what we're onboarding the initial set of game publishers for. But the real interest is in phase 2 and phase 3, where now a game publisher doesn't have to take the time to implement a reward system within their game itself. They can go into our portal, easily define an offer. We take care of all the targeting of that offer. We issue the rewards on their behalf, and it's all that targeting component. And then we're capturing events that are occurring in the game through this infrastructure that we're putting in place. And so we are working, some initial preliminary work on the patent protection in that space. But it's a complex IP. It's not insignificant to implement, but yeah, if we don't, if we become too successful too soon, and Apple or Google decide they want to jump in, we'll be run over like by a freight train. So.
Oh no, yeah, probably the case. Well, I like being really methodical about your growth. I do want to save what the future has in store and your strategy for scale for a little bit later in the conversation. So I want to actually take a step back here for a moment to talk about some of the deal highlights, some of the successes to date. So you mentioned some of the traction that you've had, especially with regards to your pilot with MasterCard. Can we talk a little bit more about MasterCard, and then I want to talk about these 6 signed LOIs that you have. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit more about what you gained from your experience with MasterCard and where you think that will continue to serve you and going forward.
Yeah, so a couple things that were really valuable there. One is we learned the importance of a transactional infrastructure, and and how to plug into that and do that with real time or near real time success. And MasterCard was very very useful with working that with us. They actually invested into this with us. We deployed with a MasterCard branded card, and so that was one thing. The second thing is, as we go forward with acQyr Exchange, we do have a relationship that we can now go back on. One of the value-added services that we will be offering as part of acQyr Exchange is for unbanked or underbanked gamers that want to get access to a way of taking out their monetary value. We'll be issuing prepaid cards, and those will be MasterCard branded cards that allow me to get access to those reward values and to go out and spend it the way I want to spend it. And if that means going back into the Apple store and making another purchase, then I can do that. So I think that certainly has been very valuable. We can, and our focus has always been on strong business partnerships. We have all of our our technical development is driven by Mike and his core architecture and design team, but we also are outsourcing a lot of our development with a very strong company called KiwiTech that provides a lot of strong value-added services, and that's just we're comfortable in that environment. Let me put it that way. And I'll wait. So you want to get on to your next question? I know you want to talk about the LOIs and sort of where we're at.
Thanks for letting me catch up to you here, Jim. Yeah, that's great. I wanted to dig into that. I think that relationship is incredibly powerful. we're a huge fan of Kiwi Tech. We've worked with several Kiwi Tech companies in the past, and that's one of the things we love is that strong value add in terms of developmental resources. So love that, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. But yeah, let's talk now about those LOIs. So you have some agreements with game publishers and developers for onboarding and growing your market presence. Can you dig deeper into that, please?
Sure. So the approach we've taken, I mentioned that we're working with a gentleman by the name of Jay Powell, who has a very strong relationship across the gaming market, well respected. He's major blogs. He knows a lot of these game publisher developers. So he's taken on working with us to connect with that first set of game publishers developers. Now we're not going after the Electronic Arts and Rovials of the world, although I will say that we've already had conversations with them. So that's a real step forward for us, much sooner than we anticipated, because what that value that gives us is that we're making sure that we're on target, right? So we don't want to deliver a solution set that we think is great and wonderful, but the publishers don't, and timing of that. So that's why we're incrementally rolling this out in phases. But the sixth, which is, by the way, is now 9, about to be 10 LOIs that, and I'll put out an announcement on this this week, are really focused on the small to mid-sized publishers and developers that could take advantage of this now. And we're doing this for a couple reasons. One is a subset of those game publishers have games that can go on to phase 1. In other words, they're already issuing in-game, I'll call them soft rewards, that they're willing to put a monetary value on, allow for the exchange and redemption of those rewards to become a part of the platform. So we're in the process of onboarding those set of games right now. We'll have those on by the end of this quarter. And then that will be our launching point for the next major phase, which we're developing with Kiwi Tech right now, which is the phase 2, which is taking full advantage of our platform and being able to implement that. And that's where most of these publishers are really focused on, because they don't want to spend the time developing their own in-game reward system, right? I mean, their focus is on building the greatest, slickest game that gamers ever wanted, right? That next great Angry Birds or League of Legends or whatever it might be. So we take that off of their plate and still give them all that functionality, because they can go into the portal and define very targeted offers through just click and point and put in the basic parameters. I'm going to reward Eric if he plays 200 minutes over the next 30 days. And, they're defining these rewards based upon events that will help them monetize. I mean, let's not, be secretive about that, because they're in business to make money. And so that's what we're trying to help them accomplish. So, this initial set of LOIs is companies that are willing to jump on. We're with full disclosure, we're giving them some benefits in terms of not having to of course we're a pay for performance anyway, but we part of our business model is that as we build the membership base, the paid membership subscriptions, we do a rev share back with our game publishers, and the initial set of publishers will be at a higher level than the next round. So that's an incentive to get them going. But we're getting a lot of good attraction there. And as I said, it was a surprise to have to go under non-disclosure with one of these, but we've talked to 3 of the top 20 publishers in the world already meaningfully about this solution set, and they're looking at it from a strategic perspective. Now, we don't have any agreements with them yet. So again, full disclosure, but we're making progress and are confident that we can begin to attract some of those larger ones as we move forward.
That's a perfect segue. And by the way, challenge accepted, 200 minutes over 30 days. I got you, Jim. I'll go ahead and do that for you.
Probably over 1 week, right?
No, not quite. No, not quite. No, that's great. And that is a perfect segue actually to the future. And so I want to break this up into like kind of big picture future, where we'll start with that. But then I want to go deeper and more granular into scale. And with your scale strategy, specifically with your implementation of AWS and the artificial intelligence that you're building in. I think those are really exciting pieces. But first, 30,000 feet, where is acQyr Exchange 3, 5, 10 years from now? And with that being said, I want to frame it. We'll save exit strategies for last.
Yeah, Sure.
Not 10 years, not 10 years
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, so we're, we've got a very, very strong, we think, business plan. I mean, we're being realistic. Our focus is, as I mentioned, is on a 3-phase rollout of the functionality. We've ported everything over to AWS for a specific reason of giving us scalability, not only nationally, but internationally as we move into that step. The phase 2 is really focused on the portal for game publishers to be able to implement their offers, and then the infrastructure, the intellectual property I talked about, to be able to easily share events so that we can actually issue rewards based upon challenges that are put out there for the gamer. And then phase 3 is all about adding additional methods of redemption, including going back into game and making additional purchases with the rewards that have been issued. Also integrating in with some of those market partners to add additional value to the gamers as we move forward. So that phase 2, phase 3 functionality is being rolled out in 3rd or 4th quarter of this year and on into 1st quarter of next year. We are, as I mentioned, we're onboarding initial set of games this quarter. We will be generating revenues in 3rd and 4th quarter from that onboarding and growth. We expect to be cash flow positive by 2nd quarter of next year. It's interesting in this market. I mean, you talk about, there's tens of thousands of publishers and developers. There's 2.7 billion gamers. So how are we going to take on such a big market? Well, interestingly, we're trying to be very realistic about this. So to achieve our 4-year plan will require us acquiring less than 100 mid-tier publishers in the marketplace. Not the big ones, but just mid-tier markets. And at the end of year 4, we will have been successful if we have a total of 4 million of those 2.7 billion gamers on our platform. So it's not a huge stretch. That's less than 0.1% of the entire gaming population for us to be successful. It's much less than 0.5% of the total publishers that are in the marketplace. So we're being very targeted. That's one of the reasons that we have Jay, to get the right set of game publishers and gamers into our platform. As I mentioned, we're under NDA with some major market players. We have the ability to go back with MasterCard on the issuance of prepaid cards, and then in a 4-year, our 4-year plan is really focused on good revenue growth, strong EBITDA and profitability to increase our overall valuation for our shareholders and our stakeholders.
That's perfect, Jim. Thanks for that. And there's actually a question that came in: is acQuyr the name gamers will know, or will there be something else upon launch?
So that's a great question. Great question. So right now we're branding as acQyr Exchange, and the reason for that is that we really looked at trying to discuss the focus of Gamers Cash and other more common names in the gaming market. But what we do is we get into 2022, 2023, see the opportunity to move into other markets. As we start to work with some of our market brand partners and start to work across retail, the holy grail is travel and leisure, but we're not going to jump in and try to attract United Airlines and Hertz onto our platform day one. But you see it there. I mean, when it used to be that airline miles were used for airline miles. Now airline miles are earned when you go to the hotel. They're earned when you go to the car, rental. So they're seeing the value of that too. And we think there's real opportunity for that as we start to work with some of these brands through the retail space to go beyond just the gaming community. So right now, acQyr Exchange is the brand. We are, promoting that. We do have a agency, Launchpad agency out of Los Angeles that is heavy into the gaming space that will help us brand, take that brand and market it as we begin to grow into the end of this year and on to next.
No, that's great. And what a time to be in the space too. We saw, kind of record uptake of gaming. It was one of the safe things to do during the pandemic. So I think we'll continue to see consumer spending on goods slightly away from services even as the pandemic, kind of winds down, God willing. Last couple moments here, and I want to kind of squeeze in the scale strategy with AI. I want to dig deep into that for a moment, and then exit strategies, and then spoiler alert, Jim, I'm going to give you an opportunity to give a closing remark about why now is the perfect time to join and invest in acQyr Exchange, and then we'll wrap things up. So that's the last little bit of this agenda. So the AI component, what is that going to be able to provide for acQyr Exchange?
Right. So right now we use our own set of algorithms for targeting offers to specific gamers. But as you know, there's been so much progress made in AI and plug and play tool sets that you can use to be much more effective at that and to tap into other demographic information, right? And so we are in initial discussions with some AI experts to say, does it make sense, and when does it make sense to take some of these existing components in the marketplace and plug them into our solution set? Because we are systems integrators, we're very comfortable with that. Mike will tell you that anytime we can integrate in an already existing capability as opposed to make it ourselves, that's what we're going to do. And with a mature, it's still a maturing market, but it's a very critical market that's making a lot of inroads. And I think the critical thing to us is not only the technology, but how it plugs in other access to data that we can be much more specific in our targeting, which is beneficial to the game publishers and developers, but it's also to the gamer, because the worst thing you can do is get 100 different offers, on only 2 of which are of any use to you. I mean, I always use the analogy of the way we used to get our offers is in a package in the mail called Valpak, right? And you sit there and you go through them, right? Well, I mean, when it's generalized like that, I mean, the industry statistics will show you that less than 1% of those offers ever get redeemed. With targeted offers, you're now into the 20 to 30% range. We were seeing that even in our pilots, in terms of the impact of targeting. So AI really helps expand our engine in being able to more effectively do that.
No, absolutely. It is tough getting a bunch of offers that are largely relevant. I remember for a while, Groupon was stuck in a location that I didn't live any longer, and it was just painful trying to change that. Just getting blasted with things that were wholly irrelevant. So last moment here, let's talk about exit strategies. And you've had success selling companies you've built to Fortune 500s in the past. Is that potentially part of the plan here?
Yeah, I think the most likely scenario, and the one that we're focused on in a 3 or 4 year time frame, that we would be an attractive M&A target. We know there are a number of players in this space. I mean, I could go through the who's who of Steam and Amazon and Microsoft and Apple and all those, but there's a lot of other key players in this. Skills. Roblox just went public, and they're certainly in this space. I think the opportunity to take a very valuable targeting engine like this and to be able to position it for integration into a major platform like Apple's or Google's or Steam or Skills or and we really haven't talked about esports, but there's a lot of tournament play going on in this world of gaming today, and we provide a mechanism for payouts on tournament play, and so that also is an interest level to companies like Skills or Steam or anybody who wants to have those across multiple games, the ability to stand up esports and tournament play events. And so that's I would say that the 3 major monetization efforts that we always focus on are beginning gamers to make more in-game purchases or to purchase games themselves. Secondly is in-game ad engagement, which I know for gamers is probably a pain, but sometimes on a free-to-play, that's your only choice if you don't want to pay. And then the third is tournament play, which is growing in leaps and bounds. So, yeah, I think I would say, our time frame is certainly in the 3 to 4, 3 to 5 year time frame to be a strong acquisition target.
Love that, Jim. And I love hearing about tournament play. And I think there's an opportunity. I know UCI out here was one of the first universities to offer esports scholarships for professional, training gamers, becoming professional gamers. And I know, there's a lot of strategies around university systems, but LexisNexis and law school would offer these points that get you hooked on Lexis, and you walk away with all these different rewards, and then you take that into professional practice. And so I'd love to see something like that happen, where you can get them hooked while they're in school, and then kind of transition them on their destination. And I think Steam is a perfect partnership to cut my teeth on Counter-Strike. That's a great group over there. Last moment here, the moment we've all been waiting for, as I mentioned earlier, closing remarks. Why, Jim, is now the perfect time to join acQyr Exchange by investing through Net Capital?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the reasons that we went to a crowdfunding platform, and we did our initial raise through a 506B, Reg D 506B, where only accredited investors could come in. And while that was, attractive, we were able to close out that round in a relatively short period of time of $500,000. We felt that when we did that, some of the groups that we talked to were asking, could they invest less than $25,000? Well, our answer was no, because we had a, confidential information memorandum. And we just felt that we needed to, now that we were on the front end of beginning to launch this into the gaming world, and, a lot of people are gamers, to give that opportunity out via Net Capital for investors that don't want to write the big check, but want to be involved and have an opportunity for growth. And with all the appropriate disclosures, I mean, if we can achieve our business plan, then we give a very nice return on investment. It's front end. I think our pre-money valuation on this is around $7.5 million, and we've invested over $8 million into the venture. So the reason we're not, trying to move that pre-money valuation up above where we think is realistic is that a lot of those dollars went into building the foundation platform that we need to move this forward. But some of those dollars went into pilots and tests in the retail space that we are now not currently executed. So we wanted to discount that. So it's really an opportunity for investors that want to write a smaller check and have an opportunity, and our, as I always say, because I've personally invested over $2.5 million into this. I am a believer in it. I see the opportunity, and I'm not just a believer because of, it's our team and we're going to be successful. I'm a believer in it because of what we've seen in the marketplace and the opportunity and the need to help these businesses be successful.
Well, thank you so much for that, Jim. I think that's a perfect way to conclude. Thank you so much for all the participants, the attendees for coming in. Thank you for the rest of the acQyr Exchange team in the background. Of course, thank you for the rest of the Net Capital team that supported this fundraising, getting it live. I am adding a link to Net Capital's YouTube channel in case you missed part of the presentation, or if you want to share this with somebody who was unable to attend, please go ahead and head that way. It'll be uploaded relatively shortly, and you can share this generally. We want to get more exposure to fantastic companies actively raising capital. So with all that being said, thank you again for attending, and Jim, thanks for all of the good work that you're doing at acQyr Exchange.
Well, yeah, thank you for having us, and thank you to Net Capital for a great platform and a way to reach out to a lot of investors. So thank you.
A pleasure. All right, everyone, take care. Thank you so much.